I got a phone call one day when I was in my home, right? Threatening phone call. If I don't come back to the school, they're gonna come down on me like a ton of bricks. This is what he has ordered the teachers to come and warn me. My dad had to come on the phone and blow up on the phone and let him know, you cannot speak to my son like this. It's going to be curtains if you continue. Because remember the Wayling family, Uncle Ruben, Radix, Steve, the Wayling family is very huge. So it could have got very mucky.
Hello and welcome to another episode of On the Sofa. My name is Rachel Onikosi and I'm glad to be here with Banna, Mr. Wayling champion, who's a martial artist. Hello Banna, how are you?
How you doing? I'm fine, yourself?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for bringing me on.
I appreciate your time. What we might do is ask you, who are you and what do you do?
Okay, well, I work with young people. Yeah, that's the field that I work with, or work in rather. I'm also into physical fitness, personal well-being, physical well-being, mental well-being, emotional well-being, all around. I'm also a person who has been involved in martial arts since the age of 9.
Wow, fantastic. So this interview is going to be focused around the kind of martial arts and Wayling, as we call it. So tell me, how did you get into Wayling?
That's a good question. Well, since the age of 9, I got into martial arts, and that was because of my father. Now, before 9, it was a matter of me always seeing my dad doing his thing, because he did both karate, which he was a brown belt, and judo, in which he was a black belt.
Wow.
Within the black belt, he was one of the youngest black belt holders in Britain, within his time. I think he was 18, 19 at the time. So basically, I can't remember as far back as I was a baby, but obviously he's been doing it from when I was a baby. So I've always seen, but I can't remember. Now, what I do recall is him always watching martial arts films. The films I recall is Enter the Dragon, Snake in a Monkey's Shadow, and Fist of Fury. Now, those are the 3 films that I recall seeing. Now, in me being shown these things on screen and me seeing my dad, obviously it had an effect on me. Do you know what I mean? When I got to the age of 9 now, that's when he began teaching me. And the way, he didn't teach me an actual style as such. He didn't teach me karate, he didn't teach me judo. What he did teach me is self-awareness, to be aware of my surroundings and to be a person that is reactionary. So if something moves, I see it. Something moves, I react to it.
Wow.
So that's what he was teaching me. So he'll do things like, I'll come out of the bathroom, for example, and he'll attack me. I'll come in from outside, he'll attack me, just randomly attack me. Do you know what I mean? And that was to get me to, you understand?
Think about your surroundings.
Exactly right. And so
move quickly.
Precisely. So any given moment.
Quick decision making.
Precisely. So at any given moment, anything could happen. So I'm comfortable, but I'm also aware that anything can happen or change.
And just on that point, when we think about, the flight or fight response, it seems that your dad was teaching you about the fight response, i.e., or being able to make an assessment really, really quickly
100%.
To your benefit. That's what your dad did.
100%.
That's fantastic.
100%. And it was from there on, that was at the age of 9. And from there on, when I got to the age of 10, that was when he sent me on to my uncle to learn Wayling.
Wow, okay. We're going to talk about Uncle Ruben in a second. That's the person you referred to. I just want to ask the question, tell me about the dedication, discipline and motivation involved in crafting your style, which we call Wayling.
When we speak of self-discipline, we speak of self-control. When we speak of self-control, we speak of being in control of your thoughts, being in control of your speech, being in control of your emotions. Now, some people say that the ultimate sign of discipline is self-control, is self-discipline. It shows mental strength. Now, I don't really like to say to have control, but what I do like to say is to be one with. Yeah, because to be in control would suggest that there's a struggle and there's a fight. Do you understand? And to be one with suggests that you are harmonized within those areas.
Indeed.
Do you understand? So when we speak on self-control, self-discipline and all of those things, it's here, and it's here. Because what we think, now I'm not going to say that I have got it under control. I'm the master of, self-discipline and self-control, and I'll never ever in life get angry and blow off the handle. I won't say that.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want to see you angry. Because you remind me of somebody who is so kind and caring and nice.
Yes.
That's one side of the pendulum.
Yes.
But I can imagine, even putting martial arts aside,
Yes.
the other side is a complete beast.
Precisely.
That's what I get from you, and I think there's a reason why you're kind and nice, because you know how you can be.
Yes.
If somebody took you to that place and you don't want to be that person.
I don't want to be in that.
Yeah, just thought I'd get that in.
I don't want to be in that place because I know what that place brings.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Of course.
So it's what you think will stimulate how you feel, will stimulate your emotions, stimulate all your feelings. How you feel and your emotions will stimulate your actions.
Absolutely.
And in turn, it goes the other way also. Your emotions or your actions rather, what you do stimulates your emotions and feelings, which will stimulate your thoughts, and it goes around like this.
Wow.
Do you see?
So let me just recap. So we're saying that you would rather not use the word self-control. You say one with the mind, the heart, and the soul.
Yes.
That's what you're saying. Once you're almost balanced,
precisely,
that's when you're able to control yourself.
Precisely.
Brilliant.
But I was at a place where I had to control. Yeah?
Yes.
I was at that place.
Yes.
And even now, within me being one with, there are also times where I'm trying to control.
Okay. Okay, I understand. I do.
With any form of martial art, in you partaking in the art, in you being serious, because you see, some people, they get into martial arts because they want to beat up people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people in there, it's all straight ego.
Yes.
Now, with those types of people, some of them break out of that naturally because of what they are doing, the activities in which they are partaking in whilst learning. Some of them will not. It depends on how deep their ego is and how deep their thoughts are in doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yes.
When you're doing it for the right reasons, it happens a little quicker.
Fantastic.
But what I can say is, in being involved in any form of martial arts, even boxing, boxing is an art form within itself as well.
Yes.
Because I used to do boxing.
Yes.
Uncle Ruben used to do boxing. Within you partaking within the art, you eventually gain self-discipline. You eventually gain self-realization. You eventually gain self-control, which is self-discipline. All of that comes because it's learning self, and through learning self, you gain self-realization, and in gaining self-realization, that is where the discipline will now kick in, because it's like you understand what makes you tick. You foresee situations that occur, and where in the past you may have blown up, you foresee where that could go. And if you do what you did, then you may go where you don't need to be. You see what I'm saying? So it's almost like you are able to slow things down. So things are happening quickly, but you're able to slow it down so you can be in more harmony with what is going on.
Yeah.
But sometimes, yes, there are times where things could happen so quickly that it just doesn't happen, because we are human out here, so we can make mistakes.
Yeah. Wow.
You know what I mean?
That sounds so amazing. And yeah, it's really inspiring to hear that. Tell me about late Uncle Ruben. I know that he was a real inspiration to you and to your family.
Definitely.
And he was one of the people that really pushed Wayling to the place it got to some years back. So tell me about Uncle Ruben, what he did and why he was so inspiring, and the legacy that he left.
Well, Uncle Ruben now, he was a man of the community. He was loved by the young and the old. He was a man who protected his community. He was a man who was always there for anybody, and that was for advice, that was for anything you needed, he was there. If something happened to you, he want to find out why it happened, where it happened, who was involved, and he will sort it out. Uncle Ruben was a person who was very, very wise. So those who were not engaged within the martial arts, they still learnt from him in other ways.
Yes.
Because he was a serious teacher in all kinds of ways. He was a lifeguard in Hackney Baths.
Right.
And I think, if I remember correctly, he was one of the union reps as well that used to speak on behalf of all lifeguards.
Wow, okay.
With the art now, with Uncle Ruben and the art, from what I can remember from obviously speaking to him, other people that know him, my dad and everybody else, Uncle Ruben got into martial arts at the age of 11. So that was 2 years before after I started. He used to do karate, in which he went to black belt. There was a point in time when he was a lot older. He was living with my auntie Marjorie, and they was living in London Fields. Within the dwelling that they lived in, there was a guy who also lived in that house, and his name was Brian Lau. Brian Lau was a Chinese man. Now, with Brian Lau used to see him doing his thing in the garden, and you know what I mean? And he was quite impressed. So one day, Brian Lau came outside. Now, with Brian Lau, Uncle Ruben was always trying to find out what is his actual name? What is his actual name? Because he knows it weren't Brian Lau. Obviously, it might be Lau, but it's not Brian. You know what I mean? Yeah, and he kind of made it known that that wasn't his name, but he wasn't telling him what his name, because he wasn't supposed to be in the country. Okay. So while seeing him training, he said, see this dedication thing, who's this guy? He's really good. So one day he came out and he asked my uncle to touch him. So Uncle said, talking about touch you, you know what I mean? What talking about? So he said, try and touch me. See if you can touch me. So Uncle tried to touch him. He done all kinds of
Wow.
He couldn't touch him. He couldn't touch him. It got to the point where Uncle Ruben got mad, frustrated, to the point where Brian Lau stopped, explained who he was. Who he was a Wing Chun master. Who he was a Tai Chi master. And he was there living with his wife and his 2 children, 2 boys.
Yes.
One of his, I don't know if both of them did anything, but I know one of his sons did llama, did crane, and did ape. So what happened is, these are animal styles.
Yes,
which Uncle Ruben eventually put into his art. Because what happened is, Brian Lau was teaching him the Wing Chun and Tai Chi. His son was teaching him the llama, the crane, and the ape. You understand? Along the way, after learning from these guys, what happened is they got deported. Right. So he was learning, but then the learning stopped. Right. Because there was no more Brian Lau. You understand? Uncle Ruben threw away his karate uniform. Threw them away, burnt them. Did he burn them? Yeah, he burnt them. And he kept the bottoms, and he dyed the bottoms black. Yes. Yeah? Now, when Brian Lau got deported because he didn't know he was getting deported.
Yeah.
It was a shock to him when he realized he's gone.
Right.
So now he's in a position of where he's frustrated and he's angry and he's upset. All these emotions running through him because he was so in love with martial arts. And now he's found somebody who can take him to a whole new level.
Yeah.
And now this person's gone.
Yeah.
So what do I do now? So what he did is he continued training what he was shown. Yes? Continue. And then it got to a point where, okay, how do I now take this further? So what he done is any art that he was aware of, he took parts from that, which he believed worked, and he used that. And the way in which he the way in which he built his art was he went out and started fights.
Okay.
Yeah, remember he was young, so
Yes.
he's still in the element of being, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he went out starting fights. Some fights he had these people that challenged him because they realized he was a martial artist that was pretty good. He closed down schools. Yeah, some art when he started to teach his art, because don't forget, whilst he's doing his thing and he started implementing things and he's dropping things, because when he's getting into it and he realized, okay, that don't work, okay, that works, okay, that needs refining, that needs fixing. You understand? When he realized, okay, now I'm ready, yeah, that's when he started to teach.
Okay.
One of the schools that he ended up closing, when I say closing down, I mean because a lot of the students left the class and went to him.
Okay.
And my father was in that class.
I see.
Because the teacher of that class, he was disrespecting my uncle, talking about kung fu is rubbish, who is this guy, his art is rubbish, and challenged him. So he went down to the school, fought the teacher, beat him up. The students left him and went to my uncle, including my father.
Okay, so let me just clarify just a minute. It's so much there. So Uncle Ruben, is he your real uncle?
He's not my real uncle.
Yes.
He's my godfather.
Yes.
He's my dad's very good friend.
Okay.
They're close as anything. So I grew up knowing him as nothing else but Uncle Ruben.
Okay, good. And so the story I'm hearing, very young age, meet somebody living nearby, somebody called Bruce. Brian, I beg your pardon. Start being taught by Brian. Brian's then deported. Uncle Ruben decides that he's going to go out and learn different types of art. As a result of that, he combined them, which then became Wayling.
He didn't learn different types of art, but what he'd done is what he knew of different arts, because he got into combat with them and things. This had him to say, okay, I'm going to take that. Okay, I like that move. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, he got in with that. Okay, I like the way he blocked like that. So I'm going to use that. When he got through that didn't work when I blocked. So I'm going to throw that away. I'm going to strengthen that. That's how he did it.
So he really did create his own style, didn't he?
He really did create his own style.
So he named it accordingly.
The reason why he named it Wayling is because he recalls Brian Lau used to always say, like Bruce Lee, no way as way and no limitation as limitation. So what he done, no way as way and no limitation as limitation.
Yeah.
So there's many more ways than one. There's so many different ways in which you can explain it, but to sort of make it an easy explanation, if you like, yeah, there's many more ways than one. No way as way. If you can't pick up the mug because it's too heavy, you might need to slap it to the side because it might be a bit lighter when it's over there. Yeah. You might need to break it to pick it up. But then if you break it to pick it up, was that the correct thing to do? You understand?
Okay.
And basically, there are many more ways than one to do anything, and no limitation is a limitation. There's no such thing as a limitation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if you need to go around the wall, you might need to go under. You might have to go under, go around, climb, break through.
Okay.
And it was to basically remind him of Brian Lau. That's why he called it Wayling. Way was for no way as way. Limitation was Ling. He didn't want to call it Lim because he wanted it to sound Chinese. So he said Ling.
Okay, Wayling. Fantastic. And when did he die? What year?
He died in 2011.
Okay. And before he died, I understand that he might have had some schools, some martial art Wayling schools. How many schools did he have, and where were they?
To count how many schools he actually had in totality, that's a hard one.
Okay.
Because
give us a rough idea then.
Maybe 6, 7.
Okay.
Because the reason why I say that, because some schools were actually within a building and where he was teaching and doing his thing.
Yeah.
Other schools is because he is the school.
I
so wherever
see.
he is, he's teaching.
Right.
Because he was teaching the black community, he was teaching the white community, he was teaching the Asian community, the Jewish community, he was teaching mixed community. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So wherever he went, even in his house, he was teaching
so
people.
he was a prominent person in a martial arts world.
Yes.
A bit of a celebrity, I guess.
You could say that.
Yeah.
He was very, very
making
well
a big
known.
impact on people's lives in terms of discipline, training, dedication, Wayling Way.
Yes.
And was he also putting people through like the grading system and things like that?
He didn't do a grading system.
Right.
His way was not fixed.
Okay.
So he always said to me, choose your students wisely. Because that's what he did. He never ever embraced somebody because they was interested in the arts.
Yeah.
You have to explain to him why you want to do it. You have to explain to him, once I've taught you this thing, where you going with it? Are you going out there with some ego?
Yeah.
And if he ever finds out that you've used it outside of where you should be using it, you got to go.
Okay.
So it wasn't about the money. It was about the love of what he created.
Fantastic. Good.
Yeah. And when I say there was no grading, how you are is what he'll draw out of you.
Okay.
Because Wayling is not about you trying to be me. It's not about you trying. If you go to football, what makes the football is the player. Without the player, the football is just a ball.
Absolutely.
And every player, they may run with the ball, kick the ball, but everyone is different in how they express. So that is what it's about.
Okay.
Finding yourself, finding your Wayling.
Uncle Ruben sounds very inspirational. It's a shame I didn't meet him back then. But moving back to you now, how long have you been training Wayling? Because I know that you had a couple of breaks since the age of 11. And also, I think what I would like to get out of this interview is, what goes through your mind when you're actually training? Is there a combination of physical fitness? I need to be tough and strong. Discipline, dedication, motivation. What is it that really drives you to get to a training session, get to the gym, and really perfect your craft? Talk to us about that.
Okay, so how long have I been doing it? Well, I'm 44 now.
Yes.
And I've been in martial arts since 9, Wayling since 10. I'm now 44. So this is how long I've been in the arts. Yes. Now, with Wayling, I also incorporate other things in which I learned along the way. Yeah. There was other arts I did. I took up Muay Thai, Tai Chi, and Shaolin.
Wow.
In Shaolin, I practiced the breathing. Wing Chun, yeah, I did that, man. Self-defense and Wayling is where it all began, because I did self-defense with my father, as I explained. It wasn't an actual art, it was self-defense and learning what I said to you. And then he took me to Wayling. Along the way, I did, as I said, I did Wing Chun. I learned Wing Chun. I did a class in Caxton House under the John Mull Association. The master of that place was Ruben. No disrespect, I've forgotten his name.
I'm sure it'll come to you.
Yeah, but his name. In fact, he lived off of Green Lanes.
Right. Okay.
In the estate. That was the first place I did Wing Chun, and then I went over to Tottenham and I learnt from the boxing academy under what's his face. Not John Mull, can't remember his name either.
Okay,
but I learned from there. You see, when I was with them, right, when I moved over to them, I was doing very well with them. Where eventually they actually, from what I was told, I wasn't told myself from Sid Sophos. That's it. Sid
Right,
Sophos and Andrew
okay.
Sophos.
Yes. Andrew
They
Sophos.
never told me that he didn't tell me directly he wanted me to become a teacher. I was told by teachers that were there.
Right.
But what had happened, I won't get into all the things why I left, because I'm not here to disrespect people's schools and all those type of things. But I actually ended up having to leave because I didn't like what was going on there. I got a phone call one day when I was in my home, right? Threatening phone call. If I don't come back to the school, they're gonna come down on me like a ton of bricks. This is what he has ordered the teachers to come and warn me. My dad had to come on the phone and blow up on the phone and let him know, you cannot speak to my son like this. It's going to be curtains if you continue. Because remember, the Wayling family, Uncle Ruben, Radix, Steve, the Wayling family is very huge.
Yes.
So it could have got very mucky.
Absolutely. Can I come in there? Because you're describing something which I didn't expect you to talk about. Yes. You're almost telling me that, you know, within the world of martial arts, it can get a bit dirty in terms of being threatened to do something you don't want to do. And the threat is really about potential harm.
Right. I was threatened because I left the school, and they first of all, they kept phoning me to find out when I'm coming back. I kept telling them I am not coming back. And then I had a phone call eventually threatening me if they're going to come down on me like a ton of bricks. Do you understand? My Uncle Ruben wasn't told this. Radix and all them wasn't told this. If they was told this, then God knows what could have happened. Do you understand? My dad sorted that out. You know what I mean? So that was that. I also did Shaolin. With the Shaolin, I started with my cousin. My cousin was a Shaolin master, and he brought over a teacher that was teaches alongside him, Shi Heng Long, from the Shaolin Temple. My cousin is Sifu Brown. So I learned from them. Eventually, I left there, and I went on to learn from my other Shifu, who I met at Alexander Palace.
Okay.
Yeah, because when I was teaching Wing Chun with Dexter and Patrick had me to meet this guy called Shifu. Okay. Right? So we went over to Alexander Palace. I took 1 week off of work. Went sick. There for 1 week, learning every morning Shaolin. I always wanted to do Shaolin.
You've mentioned so much there.
Yes.
Because I always looked at you as the Wayling guy, but you're telling me about Wing Chun, Shaolin, and all the other disciplines. So what differentiates Wayling from the others that you've mentioned that you obviously trained and disciplined in?
Well, if that was a question asked a number of years ago now, that would have been an easier question. Yeah. The reason why I say that is because, for example, there was a time when karate was all stiff. Judo was all stiff. Yeah. It's not like that now. You will have some karate guys, some judo guys that are stiff. You have some who are very fluent. A lot of arts now are mixed. Right. You understand? A lot of arts now are mixed. So what differentiates is the fact that Wayling came through in 1976, the same year that I was born. Wayling was birthed out of Hackney, the same place that I was born and bred. Yes. Wayling was created by my uncle. So the connect with Wayling is tighter than any other art form there is.
Absolutely. Tell me then, 2 questions. 1, have you ever had to defend yourself utilising your martial art? And 2, what would be your response to those people that say, when it comes to a street fight, a sudden attack, martial arts is useless?
The first time I was about maybe 18, 19. I'll try and speed this one up. My girlfriend at the time, she was at my house, painting was done. She couldn't take the painting. She was feeling faint. I had to get her home. She was literally going to faint. I had to get her home. I called a cab, went outside, because my dad was at the school at that time on Queen's Drive. Came outside and a cab came. I was wondering if that's the cab. Is that the cab? No, it can't be. But then he's not moving. So I walked over to him. Excuse me, have you come for me? Where have you called from? Tell him where I've called from. He hasn't come for me. Okay, no problem. Waiting. No cab's coming. Phoned the place again. No cab's coming. Okay, fine. Walked down to the high road to find out where this cab is. Went down there. When I went inside, who did I see? The same man that parked up on my road, sitting down, eating. Now I questioned him. Excuse me, I thought you came for somebody else. Where's this somebody else? Why are you in here eating? Give me my cab.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
He got up, this guy was like 6'3". He came out, giving it all this. We started arguing. At this point, my girlfriend was at the bus stop just a little further up. She was all thinking, but at this time, we was in such an altercation. It's like I forgot what was happening there, and I'm in this with this guy. So what happened is we're arguing, and then he said, at one point, what really set me off, he said, F your woman. You understand?
Yes.
So when he said that, I turned and I looked at her.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, I turned and I looked at her. And you know what he did? Punched me in my face. So when he punched me in my face, it went off and I lost my marbles and I went crazy. All the other cabman tried to hold me back because they all knew my dad as well. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So they're trying to hold me back because they're thinking, no, we don't, no. Trying to hold me back, And I ended up wounding this guy, right?
Dear.
It was my father that explained to me what I'd done to him. I didn't even know because I just lost it. He was frying all these punches and I was doing wing hands like I was swimming.
Yeah.
I was swimming, going through like this. And when I got close to him, I gave it to him.
Okay.
And it was my dad that saw him and realized, oh my God, my son did that.
Oh gosh.
Look at this guy.
Yeah.
You understand?
So that first one was when you were 18.
Yes, 18, 19.
On reflection now, how do you feel about how you utilised your martial art in that particular situation?
Lovely question. How do I feel? You know what? I think I did my best at the time that it was. I did my best because that's who I was at that time.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I do understand.
Yeah. And I felt really good when my dad told me what I did to this guy's head. His face was out here.
Right. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. He was trying to explain to my dad that I was the troublemaker. My dad said, no, my son is no troublemaker. If anything, it was you. So he came down to the hospital because I ended up having to take my missus to the hospital because she was like, when I explained to him, he goes, I thought so. Let me go back down there. And the guy was gone because he knew he was lying.
Yes.
But the second incident was with police.
Yes.
I was going for a jog. I must have been about maybe 27, 28, I think. Went for a jog. I was on, I was in Hackney Downs. I came out. I was on the road where the school is, Mosbourne. Jogging. Police comes up the road. Police shouting out to me, I must stop. I didn't stop. I carried on jogging. All I hear is doom, 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 that sound. I thought, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
So I started walking. So I started walking, and as they've walked up to me, one of them grabs hold of me. I told him to let go of me. He wouldn't let go of me. So I shrugged off and I carried on walking. I haven't done anything. So I'm continuing to walk. Next minute, I'm feeling all these hands trying to grab me. I'm pulling off. And I'm telling them, listen, I'm asking you to leave me alone. I'm going about my business. I've done nothing. Leave me alone. Yeah, they wouldn't leave me alone. They're trying to jump on me and all this.
Yes.
And it's funny because when they tried to jump on me, they was using extreme force.
Yes.
Now, I knew within myself now at a time where I got self-discipline that if I retaliate with violence, I'm the one that's going to get it, even though they are the ones who caused me because of the violence they are bringing to me.
Absolutely, yes.
So what I done, I relaxed myself, and every time they tried to fight me, I slipped out. I was walking and slipping out of all these movements. They couldn't hold me to the point where they got frustrated. And it got to the point where it got silly because they couldn't hold me. So I said, you know what? And then that's when they did a madness.
Tell me what goes through your mind when you are actually training. So, for example, do you do it for reasons of feeling physically fit, spirituality, feeling strong and untouchable? What is it that really drives you to continue to train?
I definitely do it for physical fitness because Wayling incorporates physical fitness. I definitely do it for the spiritual reasons, and I definitely do it for the art itself. Now, I don't do it to be strong and untouchable because, some people, they believe that because you do martial arts, that means you are untouchable. When the fact of the matter is, nobody on this planet is untouchable regardless of what you do. Yeah?
Absolutely.
Regardless of what you do, because every art is as good as the person who practices the art. So Tom over there may do the same thing as you, but Tom over there is not very good. Yeah, he's not very good. But then the person over there is great. But the person over here who's great, he can still lose. Because there are so many factors that happen within an altercation, within a fight. So many. So no matter how great you are, you could still lose by a lesser person.
Fine.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. When you say lesser, what do you mean? What does lesser?
When I say lesser,
in that,
not in a disrespectful
example
way, but in terms of a person may not have the same ability as you, or may not be as strong as you, or whatnot. On a normal day, he may not be able to defeat you.
That human ability,
yes, but on this specific day, he might do so. Because of certain factors. There are so many things that can cause you to lose. So you never, ever have your mindset thinking that you're untouchable. Of course. Because the day that you lose is the day that you're going to fall apart. There
are so many famous martial artists out there. I will name two. The ones that come to mind are Bruce Lee and Jet Li. But I'm sure there's many others. With under all different types of martial arts. Who would you compare yourself to?
Nobody.
Why
I compare myself to myself. I can never be them. So it's pointless me comparing myself to them. I must only know what I'm capable of doing and sit with that and work and drive and cultivate who I am within the art.
That's a really good answer. Let me twist it just a little bit. Who out of the famous martial artists, and you can include your dad or Uncle Ruben in this, would you say you find the most inspiring?
The most inspiring? Whew. I have to be biased. And the reason why, the reason why is because I grew up on Bruce Lee. I grew up on that man. I used to be in the mirror and doing things that he's done. I'll watch films and I'll copy scenes in what he does, because Bruce Lee was it for me. Do you understand? And I also inspired by Silver Fox. Yeah, very, very good martial artists. You know what I mean? So all different types of martial artists, I like them for different reasons.
Yeah.
But for Bruce Lee, it's because he was one of the first for me. I grew with that man. Yeah. So I'd say Bruce Lee.
I have a confession to make, which is that I'm also a Bruce Lee fan. So we share something there. I know that some years back you found yourself in a bit of a dark place. And you stopped practicing Wayling. In fact, I understand you didn't train at all for some time. Can you tell me, what happened during that period and why suddenly you've gone from, being somebody who's actively involved in, discipline of martial arts, training people, training yourself, advocating for obviously Uncle Ruben and your dad, and then suddenly you are no longer at a place where you can continue. Talk to us about that.
Well, I won't go into exactly what happened, but what I will say is what did happen involved my eldest child, and that was regarding the madness that goes on outside there on the roads. Now, it took me to a place where I lost my head and I could have actually gone prison for doing a madness. But I had to hold my composure. I had to hold my composure because this has happened to my child. You as an individual or you as a group have done this. Now, I didn't bring my child into this world for you to try and take him out. So does that mean because you tried to take him out and you didn't succeed, should I now look for you and take you out because you tried to take something away from me that is dear to me? You see what I'm saying? Or should I not turn a blind eye, but am I to not do anything because that person is also, or those people are also somebody else's child?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
And with those people or that person being somebody else's child, will I put that family in a position of hurt and pain because of something that I've done?
Yeah.
So this was the struggle that I was having because my son almost died twice.
So sorry to hear that. Yeah.
That's all right. He almost died twice, and that's where it got me.
Yeah.
So that again was the struggle because I know where and how my head goes.
Yeah.
So I had to balance my thoughts in that and that, and where I could go if I do, and what happens if I don't. You see what I'm saying? So what happened is at that time I was in a dark place. I couldn't think on anything else but that. I even put up a Facebook video telling people, when you see these people, you bring them to me and I will do what I need to do. And I had to take it down. People, Banna, take that down.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where I thought, you know what, it's true.
What am I doing?
Yeah, you understand?
Yeah.
So I was in a place where I was struggling with myself. Should I not? Should I do? Should I not? Should I look for? Should I leave it? Am I in leaving it saying that my son is not as important as these people's child? Do you understand?
I do understand.
So with that, I couldn't train, I couldn't teach. So other people, they might have still taught and just got the money. But because for me, again, it wasn't about the money. It was about what I'm giving. And because I, at this point, was unable to give my all, my energy, my drive, they're being cheated.
Yeah. Did you also feel at conflict with the art, with the passion you had for the art, and the conflict being the feelings you then had towards those individuals that harmed your son? Was there conflict going on in you? So, we spoke about earlier about balance, being within, being with one.
Yes.
Did you feel that you were no longer at that place? And as a result of that, that kind of made you not continue to train during that period of you trying to find yourself at a better place?
That one wasn't there no more. Now I'm fighting, and I had to find it again. I had to find it again, and that meant not teaching, not training, not doing anything. And it wasn't because I no longer had the love for it, because I've always had the love for it. Even though I don't train as I did when I was a lot younger, which was like every day, throughout the day, constantly. If I'm walking down the road, I'm doing a thing. If I'm standing at the bus stop, I'm doing a thing. If I'm in my car at the bus, if I'm in my car at lights, I'm doing something.
Yeah.
It's not that now.
Wayling.
Yeah, it's not that now. Uncle Ruben taught me to do that. When I'm dancing.
Walking late, you know what I mean? Brilliant, of course.
And I still found it difficult to do anything because of the disruption.
Of course.
So I had to put that aside, including the students that I was teaching, and just focus on myself.
What year was that?
2015.
And how long did it take you?
And a little while after that, was again after 2015, I think it was about maybe 8 months or to a year after that again.
Okay. So since those times, how long have you been back on it? You know, training people, training yourself, and keeping yourself at balance at one.
I got back on it personally myself, I'd say 2000 and maybe 17.
Brilliant.
2016, I was doing little bits, but I couldn't do it as I wanted to do it.
Yes.
I didn't have the drive like that, but I found it, and you know, I trained myself and those things. I've been teaching since the age of 18.
Yeah.
On and off. And even before that, in primary school, little bits, although when I was in primary school, it wasn't so out there because I kept it secret.
Right, I see.
You see?
Yes.
It's only when I got a bit older, people started to realize, so people in school were like, I didn't know you did that.
Right,
You understand?
right, yes, of
It's
course.
only till Facebook, when I went on Facebook in 2009, that more people started to realize I did this thing.
Yes.
So with the teaching, I'm not so much teaching now. I'm more teaching family and my children. Well, children is my family, because I find that a lot of people are a waste of my time.
I'm saying this to put it on record.
Yes.
That if some people watch this interview and they wanted a session with you, we could on the sofa could organise and pay for a group session for you to do one session with them.
Yes.
Let them feel and understand a bit of whaling and then decide whether they want to continue. I'm just saying to put it on record.
Yeah.
You don't have to respond to it. Let's see how it works out. It's up to you. You can respond to it if you want to.
I will respond to it. And
Yes.
what I will say is I've given up on people in terms of
Okay.
it. So where I am at this point in time is I am teaching my family, yeah, especially my daughter,
Yeah.
yeah, because she has been on me since the age of 4.
Right.
So I
Okay.
know that it's in her.
Yeah.
I'm sick and tired of all these talkers.
Yes. Okay.
You know what I mean?
with
I'm
you.
sick and tired of it. I don't want. I'm sick and tired of putting my energy into people who ain't really, who believe they are dedicated to the thing. They have an idea of what it is. They believe they know what it is. They enjoy the thought of getting involved and being, but in reality, it's not that.
Okay. So what I'm sensing really is that not that you don't want to expand it to community, but you're frustrated at expanding it and then not seeing dedication required
Precisely.
for people to
People
continue.
are not the way they used to be.
Yeah.
A lot of people as well, they live in a microwave world. They expect to come in today and be Bruce Lee next week. Doesn't work like that.
Okay.
You see, when my uncle was teaching, there was people that would come in and they'll be like this for the whole lesson. For 2 and 3 lessons, this is what they'll be doing whilst watching other students doing all kinds of things, and they're wondering, why the hell am I holding my arms like this? Why is he making me hold my arms like this? Because I want to see your mindset.
Okay. I'm with
Are
you.
you able to hold up your arms? How much do you want this?
Okay. The next question I think is absolutely relevant to that last point. Whoever might watch this interview, what 3 things would you say they need to even embark on the journey of whaling or martial arts in general? What 3 things are needed?
For them to be true to themselves.
Yeah.
Do you actually want it? Or are you just impressed with the idea that you have within your head, which is not a reality?
Yeah.
You need to build a real foundation. As I said, there were people in class that was up like this for the whole class, 2 and 3 lessons.
Wow. Okay.
So that in itself tells you those people that were able to do it, eventually they were in the class.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've said that I would love to do some session with you. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want you to be frustrated with me. I know we're going to have conversations outside of this interview. But we're going to make it happen with me in some respects. It's been a great interview, Banna. I really appreciate your time. You've answered really comprehensively, so I think we've got a lot of information to make a really good interview for you. I think you're absolutely inspirational, motivational. I think your discipline is second to none. So I just want to say, keep doing it, because there's not many people like you.
There's not many people like any of us.
You're not every day. You're right. but you're special in my eyes.
Thank you.
How can people find out more about you?
Well, you can go on Instagram, Banna Dan, BANNADAN, 2 words, or on Facebook, it's the exact same thing, Banna Dan. Or if you go on YouTube, I'm under Wayling Way, WAYLING Wayling Way.
Brilliant. And on your YouTube, what do you have up there?
On my YouTube,
content?
there was footage of old sessions, little bits. I didn't really show the meaty stuff.
Right, I see.
Yeah. I'll show little bits here and there of classes that I did, and now it's more so me just putting up kung fu movies.
We're now going to move into the personality questions, and this should take less than 5 minutes.
Okay.
So the first scenario-based one is you're late for a big client work meeting, and you know it wouldn't look good if you walked in late. Do you miss the meeting saying you're sick, casually walk in a meeting as if to say you're early, attend the meeting but pretend you've got a bad leg, or make a big excuse about a car accident at the meeting?
I would phone up and explain that I'm going to be late and the reason why I'm late. I don't like to be late.
Okay, good. I like that response. And the thing is, what you're describing is you think outside the box. You're not going to be forced to answer a question which doesn't really resonate with who you are. So good answer. The second one is you found a bundle of money in the street nearby some shops. You are in financial difficulty. Do you give the money to the local police? Keep the money for yourself because it's a gift from the universe. Give the money to a nearby shop as a person may come back looking for it, or share it between some youths hanging around the shops.
So the money has no one's name attached to it?
No, and you saw the person, but by the time you picked up the money and looked up, they disappeared.
The person disappeared?
Yeah.
You see, this is a funny one because that person can go into the shop and there ain't no money because the shopkeeper's taken the money. How do I know the shopkeeper is going to remain loyal to then give it to this person?
Yeah.
And it's how much? 4
to 5 grand. Yeah. What would you do in that situation?
I'm in strife. I think I'd hold on to the money.
You would hold on to money. I'd keep it for yourself.
I'd hold on to it for a period of time, and if I see the person, I'll give it to them because I like to think someone else will do that for me.
If you don't see the person,
then I'm gonna hold it.
Hold it.
I'm gonna keep it,
and you'll spend it for yourself.
It's mine.
Okay. Thank you for that answer. The last set is just either or, shower or bath. What's your preference?
It depends. If I want to, it's both of them. Because if I want to...
What's your preference?
My
Which
preference?
one is the best one you
like? It depends on my mindset at the time.
Okay.
Because if I want to relax and listen to a music and thing, it's a bath. If I need to, you know what?
What do you do most of? What do you do most of?
It would be a bath.
Okay,
because
so you bath more than the shower.
The shower is more a quick thing. But with the bath, I shower off.
Yeah. You're very analytical. That's the thing.
So
You're
I'll bathe and then I'll shower off. So it's kind of like both.
Cinema or Netflix?
Netflix.
Uber or black cab?
Uber.
Boris Johnson or Keir Starmer?
None of them.
Gym or jog?
Gym.
In terms of popcorn, sugar or salt?
Sugar.
Do you like to read or listen to music?
Oh gosh, I like to do both, but
preference?
I'd have to, you know what? I'd have to say music. The reason why, because I haven't read in a while, even though I love to read.
Okay.
So
well, that's the end of the personality questions. Thank you so much for coming down. You've given me so much information and insight into the life of Wayling, and I look forward to again attending a training session with you like we did previously. Brilliant. Thank you.